Hey, listen up. We got another episode of Wise Kracks, featuring the crack man himself, Bill Krackomberger, and our co-host, John Orlando, straight from Las Vegas. Wise Kracks is your ticket inside the world of sports betting, with tips, picks, special guests, and more. Only on WSN.com.
Welcome back to another episode of Wise Kracks. I am John Orlando, holding it down in Las Vegas, while the man of the hour, Bill Krackomberger, is in Hilton Head, South Carolina, right?
South Carolina, yep.
For the Heritage
a 4-hour
Open
drive from Myrtle Beach. Yes, the Heritage is the Golf Open here at Harbor Town in fantastic Hilton Head. I'm literally steps away from the clubhouse. Really cool. This is the action-packed tournament this week. Really excited to be here.
Have you been before?
21 times.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Now,
No,
where do you in a hotel?
I haven't been the last 2 years, but no, this is I actually have two buddies here. One lives on the 18th hole, has this unbelievable place, which I stayed at many times, but someone offered him a ridiculous amount of money. I guess I could say it. They offered him $20,000 for the week.
Come on.
To be over the 18th hole. It's beautiful though. It's sick. It's sick.
When you live there and you're over the 18th hole, I guess you don't need tickets to go to the thing, right? Like you're already there.
He has his deck. He can just he has dual decks actually. He can watch the 18th hole right from there.
Wow.
But he does have tickets,
Okay.
He's very wealthy guy, so he can do what he wants. Really, I was surprised he actually rented the place out. To be honest with you, but anyway, I have a couple buddies here real close by. It's a great tournament to come to every year. I haven't been here in a couple of years, and it should be a fun week. It's just nice to get away from the hustle and bustle of this strenuous time. That was when there's cross sports, football, basketball. We're just coming out of the Super Bowl, coming out of March Madness. So this is a relaxing trip for me. And
we don't talk about that. We never talk about that. Really, is your daily. I mean, we do sometimes, but your grind. I don't know if people realize it's a lot of work. I think people they dumb down what you do to. You just pick some games. You pick right. You pick some sides. You pick some props. What's the big deal? There's so much that goes into one sport, let alone when you got NBA,
so
Major League Baseball, right? Golf, everything.
I kind of take it personally too, I'm in business to win, not only for myself, but my followers and, my people that I'm involved with in business. So, it's a lot of work that goes into it. This past season really showed in the NFL, which I had a ridiculous season. Between the props and the quarters and the totals. I mean, not the quarters, the props and the totals.
Yeah.
And the first halves. And it was really a fantastic season. And I have to credit my whole team for that. And we plan to, roll it right in here, right into baseball. So, and golf. We had a great big week at the golf this past week. It was it was a major tournament. So happy to really come out of our shell here and hopefully continue it. This is a really big week here. Like I said, this is the 22nd time I've been here, and I've never seen a star-studded field like this field.
Really?
Usually after the Masters week, they usually take off, or that's not what they did this year. So.
Wow. Well, we've got a lot to talk about today. We're going to definitely talk some baseball, because some crazy things happened today in the Dodger game that we'll talk about shortly.
Yeah.
We've got a great guest today. We've got Mike Goldberg, my buddy Mike Goldberg, who is the voice of the UFC. He did play-by-play next to Joe Rogan, doing color commentary for the UFC for, I want to say 18 years, 19 years, something like that, maybe even 20 years. I mean, he is an iconic announcer from there. He went to Bellator, and now I believe he does a lot of stuff with bare knuckle boxing. So real excited to have Mike Goldberg, affectionately known as Goldie, on the show coming up a little later. But before we get all into that, tell me more about. So there was the field in this week's.
I have it on my phone. I just pulled up odds from one of the sports books because I just wanted to see what the odds on Justin Thomas. He's the favorite, one of the best golfers in the world. It's way too low of odds though, 10-1. ridiculous, to be honest with you. I had him finishing top 10 last week. I had him plus around 135 to 150 to 160. And he did finish top 10. That was a good one for me and the whole staff. Justin Thomas, Colin Morikawa, Patrick Cantlay, Cameron Smith, who really had some unbelievable golf at the Masters, the Aussie. Shane Lowry, the Irishman, fantastic golf last week. Matthew Fitzpatrick, who loves this course. Dustin Johnson, he's the big name here. DJ is always a big fan draw. Daniel Berger, Russell Henley, Corey Connors, fantastic offer. Could be some value there at 30 to 1. Webb Simpson, who won this a couple of years back. Tyrell Hatton, Sungjae Im. There's some really big names. Joaquin Neiman, Jordan Spieth, Kevin Kisner. Wow. I can go on and on here.
I'm not a big golf fan, as you know, and I recognize almost all those names.
Matt Kuchar, who won it a couple of years back. I was on the 18th hole at that previous place I told you about when I seen that. So that was he literally pitched out of the sand and holed it for the win on the 18th hole. It was unbelievable. I have it on video. So that was interesting. So this is a real big week.
I just learned something, or so I think, because you said something that surprised me. You said the favorite to win is 10 to 1, and that's just too low. I would think 10 to 1 on a favorite is like a steal, but with golf, it's not that way.
Not these. There's so many golfers here. There's so many people. And I don't like to bet 10 to 1 shots. Steve. I don't like to bet anything under 20 to 1, really. And when you have a golf tournament with so many good golfers, this is you have to look for a lower hold than that. It's the reason why you need multiple books to shop at. So
okay.
I'm finding it 10 to 1 there, but yet I'll go over and I'll look at some other sports books. As a matter of fact, I looked at this before I came on. So he's 10 to 1 at that sports book, but yet the first one that I look at, I go to look at a sports book like a as you could, if maybe you guys can see there. Here he's 15 to 1 there at that's at Circa. So
okay,
there's a starting. There's what I mean. 10 to 1 at one of the sports.
That's a big difference.
15 to 1.
That's a big difference.
I'm not. You got to shop. I mean, just think about the difference. If you put $100 down, you're going to win. $1,500 compared to $1,000.
Right.
So you have to shop. You have to bring that household down. That's the idea behind advantage sports betting, especially these kind of a futures market where it's 25, 30, 40% takeout. So you want to make sure you're shopping around. You're bringing the golf hold down to single digits, and you don't want to put a large bet. I never recommend putting a large bet on any to win bet normally. At long odds like that. So
yep.
There we go.
And now I can't remember. You said Tiger is playing, correct?
No.
Okay.
Tiger doesn't know. Tiger's not playing here.
Okay.
He really. But now that we're talking about him, he really showed a lot of people things last week. Wow, he really did. He's one of the greatest golfers ever that you're ever going to see. It doesn't matter how I personally feel about him.
Yeah.
I tend to judge people by how they take care of others and how they treat others. Yeah. And maybe my parents might have raised me wrong, but that's the way I treat. That's the way I judge people. And in that sense, Tiger's off the charts, way down low. Yeah. But as far as him being a professional golfer in his career, he's unbelievable. Yeah. He's an unbelievable, golfer.
I don't have my notes. I actually had notes for this exact topic. And of course I left my laptop at home like an idiot today, but, if I remember right, I want to say round 1, he shot a 71 and then a 74.
I think you're right.
And then 78 in round 3, 78 round 4. Do you attribute that to it's a long layoff and he got tired is what it looks like,
he didn't
right?
He didn't play for 500 days. The guy was
right.
in a life or death car accident that a lot of people might have had their leg amputated or something if they weren't Tiger Woods or something like that. He would have been very seriously messed up, which he was. And he came out and, he's had a couple of practice rounds. He played around with his son, he's been doing a couple of little things. And for him to come out and just to make the cut, he was, the minus, it was a pick 'em at once, but then the no will wind up being favored at one time too. So he came out there and really showed everybody that he's Tiger Woods and who knows when he'll play again, but I'm sure if he just played a major like this, He had the problem walking. You can notice a limp on him later in the rounds, especially on the third and fourth day. But he proved to the world why he is the great Tiger Woods golfer.
Wow. I'm not going to say you've turned me into a golf fan, but you've definitely changed my interest level over the last couple of years, for sure.
Cool.
So I sent you a photo earlier today, and I already forgot the guy's name. Let me pull it up. About
Scheffler.
Yes, about Scheffler. So he's in half a season. He has won more money than Jack Nicklaus, Arnold Palmer, and Gary Player earned in their entire careers. Is this right?
I actually may look at this again. It's just so hard to believe. God, that Scotty Scheffler has earned more than Jack, Arnold, and Gary Player. And, do we have the tweet, picture of the tweet? There it is, if we don't have it. There's the picture of the tweet. I don't know. Is that really him posing in front of all that money? I don't know. I didn't know Scotty was like that. But not that it's not a big deal. It's great. He deserves it. But that's pretty cool.
That is amazing. Cool. Yeah. I mean,
he's a good guy, a local guy, hangs out with friends and family. He had a lot of family there. I love that. I'm all about that. He had a ton of family with him on the end of the tournament. It was so cool to see him hugging and kissing his mom, his dad, his wife and sisters. And oh God, it was so cool. I loved it.
Yeah. It's fun watching people when they win, when they rise to the occasion on those big events, sporting events.
Celebrating.
That's what makes sports so cool.
Family.
John,
I got to tell you though, it shocks me how these golfers go through these streaks. Like he has won now, I think it's 4 out of 6 tournaments, and number one golfer in the world, deservedly great golfer. But like a guy like Brooks Koepka I think he won 4 majors, and he was on a roll, and all of a sudden he got hurt a little bit and kind of he's out of the mix now. These guys go through these streaks. Well, by the way, Koepka also not that good of a guy off the course. That's again how you treat people, and he has there's a lot of footage of him getting mad at the press, getting mad at fans, and you're in the limelight, you're in the spotlight, and that's going to happen. But you really should conduct yourself in a professional manner. I know it's hard to do it, when people are getting disturbed at dinner or something. But recently, I seen a video of a fan trying to take a picture of him as his car was pulling up, and he kind of went nuts on the fan and just really turned me off. Anyway, but these golfers go through these things, these swings, and these for play on words, swings. he literally, Scheffler, great golfer here. Now let's see where we go from the Masters. Let's see what happens. I think he'll be okay, of course, but especially with. I think he won 2.7 million or around there. I know Rory McIlroy came in second and got like 1.7. So there was a lot of money being thrown around. Great comeback for Rory. For the fourth day, I think he shot like 8 under or something like that. He was unbelievable on day 4, Sunday of the Masters, but not good enough to catch the champ. Mr. Scheffler.
All right, let's move on to baseball news. Shocking day today, Bill, for my Dodgers. I just can't even believe. So Clayton Kershaw starts the game, Dodger former ace, he's probably now the number 2 or 3 guy on the pitching staff. Still got some gas in the tank, still a gamer. He took a perfect game into the 8th inning. He'd only thrown like 80 pitches, and Dave Roberts pulled him out of the game. Crack, tell me what is going on in this crazy world.
If it was a no-hitter, I kind of understand it more, but a perfect game has only been 23 in the history of baseball. I mean,
think of that. 23 in the whole history of baseball.
Yeah, I don't know. Dave Roberts, I think he's the only coach in history of baseball that has done this twice, by the way. To pitchers. So I'm not real big on it. I'm a fan of the game. You want to bring people back to the game. You guys were, talking about striking again. And missed the first weekend of baseball. And you want to keep the fans in the game, and nothing more exciting than a no-hitter.
Yeah, and I mean, to me, it's like I get the whole, they pay these guys a lot of money and they're useless if you can't keep them on the field. I get that, but I have yet to see where you baby a pitcher and because you're afraid of him getting hurt, and he still ends up getting hurt anyway. Like, it just seems the difference of 80 to 100 pitches is not that big of a deal. I mean, I'm shocked that I know it's early in the season. This is game 4 or 5, whatever it is. Man, that just burns me. Of course, Kershaw backed him and said, yeah, it was the right move. But I think that's just him saying being a franchise guy, right?
No problem. Yeah, with the franchise.
That's got to bother him, though, deep down, right? Like, you got a shot at a perfect game. 6 more outs?
I would think definitely.
Yeah, that's just unreal. At least the Dodgers won the game, though. That's 2 in a row. Bill headed to winning 117 this season.
If they win 100, it'll be a real good season for them.
Yeah, we've got a graphic. We've got a photo provided by Bill Krackomberger here, doing your research. That is just hilarious. I'm not going to read it because it's going to get us in trouble, right? Is there some language in there or no? No, it's Yeah, so can you bleep, Travis, if I read? Yeah?
I'll bleep.
Okay, so you'll bleep it. On the day, so this is from, who tweeted this, Bill?
This is Super 70s that I follow, a Super 70s feed on Twitter.
This is awesome. It says, on the day Clayton Kershaw was pulled from a perfect game after 80 pitches, I'd like to remind you this motherfucker got struck by lightning, was revived, and finished the goddamn game.
I mean, it's just it's such a good tweet. It's about I'm reading it now. Ray Caldwell, Indians pitcher, 1919-1921, struck by lightning. 9th inning of the Indians, his debut, finished the game after being revived, pitched a no-hitter 17 days later, won 20 games for the 19 world champion Indians. So
I mean, nothing says our society has gone soft better than that tweet.
Yeah,
that is great. Classic. Okay, let's end baseball talk on that one.
Yep.
Boxing news. Oscar De La Hoya. Oscar clearly still might be abusing some substances, I think, Bill. I don't know for a fact, but Oscar De La Hoya said that he thinks Jake Paul could beat current boxing champions. This is also a question maybe we should ask Goldie when we get him on the show a little later. But, Bill, is this true? What do you think?
I don't know. I think Oscar's... after I seen that a year ago, probably less than a year ago, and coming on stage and one of these shows and messed up and just, I mean, how many passes do we give the guy? And just talking stupid. He said he bet $500,000 on Tiger Woods to win.
Right.
Listen, show me the ticket where you bet who took $500,000. At 50 to 1. Show me that ticket. To win $25 million, and then I'll say, okay, you did do it, Oscar. But until that time, I'm calling bullshit.
I like it. Okay, well, while we're on the combat sports, Bill, there's that saying, every squirrel gets a nut sometimes. Is that the saying or something like that, right? Yeah. So I got that nut last week with, I finally made a prediction that came true. Last week we talked about UFC 273, in which, Aljamain Sterling was fighting Petr Yan for the belt. If you remember, Sterling had the belt only because Yan got disqualified for an illegal knee while Sterling was down about a year ago or 18 months ago. They finally had the rematch. It's been on and off a couple times. And I said Sterling has had to deal with a lot of hate on social media, a lot of emotion, people calling him paper champion. He was like a plus 400 dog or maybe plus 385. And I said, I don't know, man. He looks good. And he got it done. He won by decision. But now that's not good enough, Bill. There's controversy around that. They're saying that they think Yan actually won the fight. A lot of the people, including Dana White and Joe Rogan, said that they thought that Yan might have won. So there's still controversy surrounding this win.
I don't know. well, when they fight again, he's not going to be. By the way, it was plus 420. I know someone took.
Wow.
He won't be plus 420 next time. I can guarantee it.
No chance. No chance. Yeah, it was a really good fight. I had Sterling winning rounds 1, 2, and 3, and I even thought he was so dominant in round 2 on the ground, just holding Yan down on the ground for most of the entire round. That's almost 5 minutes. I had that as like a 10-8 round. So I felt like Sterling.
It's the reason why you can't lay 6-1 on some of these fights.
It's crazy, right?
Things just happen. I mean, I'm not looking to lay big odds on anything like that.
Especially in a fight, because anybody can get caught, right?
But then again, John, I say that, and I can't tell you how much money I lost betting against Mayweather until I won when he fought Conor McGregor, a good 5 figures. But a lot of fights I lost my money betting against Mayweather, taking 3-1, 4-1, 5-1.
Right.
I bet Oscar against him. Talk about Oscar. I bet Oscar again. Oscar gave him a great fight.
Yeah, he did. I had Oscar.
You can lay it though on boxing events certain times with guys that are so smart like him that hit the hand, choose all their opponents, and go onto a path of perfection.
Were you already betting on fights back in like the Mike Tyson days? And did you used to bet on Tyson or no?
No, that was the late 80s and stuff when he was just killing everybody. He was like, even the fight he lost versus Buster Douglas, he was like 50-1 favorite. So
you just can't do it.
I wasn't
right?
interested in. Can't do it. He was just terrorizing the division and just going through everybody. I mean, he really was. Well, I think about Michael Spinks. I was at the fight, by the way. It was 1988, I believe. I was at the fight in Trump Plaza in Atlantic City, and just being a teenager myself, I was so excited to be in that. I actually went to Tyson versus Spinks and Tyson versus Holmes, Larry Holmes, and I'll just tell you that these were money grabs. Spinks was afraid to come out of the dressing room. Here, they got $10 million for that fight. And that was a lot of money in 1988. And he literally, 93 seconds, it was all over.
Wow. Yeah. It's crazy. But if the odds are that in Mike's favor to win, it means people are betting on him, right? So people really are laying down that money,
Whenever you see odds like that, normally they're being put up for someone to bet the underdog.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they're put up. Usually for someone to bet the underdog. People don't have bankrolls to go up there and lay 40 and 50-1 on anything.
It's just crazy.
Because you're getting back such a small amount of money compared to your outlay.
Right.
So those odds are there for you to bet the underdog.
But you finally bet Mayweather when he fought McGregor.
Yeah. Well, it went down to like minus 150 at fight time on the day of the fight. There was so much square Conor McGregor money in town that they were forced to overmove its stations. Overmove it. Well, there you go. But there was so much money in town that they came in to bet, and all those 20s, 50s, 100s, all on the UFC champion McGregor, who was great, and everyone, just rooting for Conor because they're millennials of the world, and that's the popular sport. And did someone just throw something at you? Saying,
no, it's weird. The other microphone just decided to fall over for some reason on the desk. I don't know. It's the ghost of Bill Krackomberger is in this studio right now.
Good stuff.
Bill, there's more notes that our producers wrote about this Sterling fight, about Sterling running around round 1. I'm not going to cover any of these, what I would call nonsense notes here, because it is not in line with the fight that I witnessed. I'm going to.
Well, everyone witnesses a fight from their standpoint too, though.
Right.
So maybe you watched it from your end, and maybe someone else watched it from the other end, and it sounds like the other end, with some big names in the business, thinks that side won.
Yeah, true. Yeah. What are you going to do?
But everyone roots from their end, and they only see their end, and they say, what are you, crazy? But, that's the reason why people come back and put the money at the counter, and it's the reason why guys like me are able to make a living, because everyone thinks they should win.
And speaking of you making a living, this is a good time for me to remind everybody to download the Crack Wins app so they can start making a living doing this stuff. All they got to do is follow you and your words of wisdom. You give out incredible information on the app. You can get it at Apple. You can get it at Google Play, or just go to crackwins.com. Check it out today. I mean, Bill has been on absolute fire. Why don't you want to talk about a little bit about what's been going on?
Well, the Masters was a really good tournament for us. One of my better golf tournaments, 4-1. And then I had Justin Thomas to finish top 10. Like I said, plus 135. I like to give out an attainable number for people. Of course, I actually seen it, I try to give out like the lowest number I can find so it's attainable and people know to play it. But I mean, you should actually got a better price there. But we're doing great Crack Wins. We're going to have another big golf week in the bag here this coming weekend, and we're betting everything. We had NASCAR. We went 2-0 last weekend in NASCAR. Baseball season's here, so make sure you download the Crack Wins app or go to crackwins.com for all your winners.
I had no clue that you even bet NASCAR. Is that a new thing, or you've always done that?
Yeah, no. Once in a while, we'll throw. If I feel it's strong enough of a race, and we'll throw some NASCAR information out there. There's people are able to bet that now with the new apps that are come to the country, and there's rotations of schedules that people you could bet the NASCAR race. So I'll bet driver versus driver, just like the golf matchups, player versus player.
Have you been to a race before?
Yes, a couple times in Vegas.
I actually loved it.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't been in Vegas, but I went in LA. Wasn't quite as hot. Maybe that's why it might have been brutal in Vegas. Right. But I was in I was in one of those luxury suites, and I thought it was kind of exciting. Too. I thought it was cool.
Yeah. No, the luxury suite's nice. I was in one a couple times when I was living down at the Golden Nugget. I went with them in their suite, and it was cool. It was cool, but it just wasn't for me. I won't go back to a race.
Did you just say when you were living at the Golden Nugget?
I lived at the top floor of the Golden Nugget, the 18th floor, for 3 years.
What?
Yeah.
How do I not know this? Who lives in a casino? Yeah. How do you, Bill?
It's very hard. I put a tweet up recently on that. It's very hard to live in a casino. It can never be done again, actually, because the casinos are too corporate-wise now.
Right.
Let me see if I can find this commercial that I found on Twitter that I found it on YouTube. I put it up on Twitter. Here it is. I can't believe I found it. All right. So I lived up the 18th floor at the top of the chairman. It's called the chairman's chamber. It was a two bedrooms, and it said chairman's chamber because Frank Sinatra and his son would always stay there, or Frank Sinatra usually, but his son stayed there. As a matter of fact, you can see this is the room, and it's exactly the same as in this commercial. Nothing has changed. You can see there's.
Oh my God, that's Steve Wynn.
Yeah. And that room is exactly the same, John, as it was then. And you can see there's the chairman of the board himself.
Oh my God. That is classic.
And Steve Wynn says that I'm Steve Wynn. I run this place, and he says, make sure I get enough towels. Yeah.
Wow.
So, that's the same room I lived in, and it was really amazing. That was some amazing 3 years of my life. That room had an outdoor jacuzzi. It had a piano. It had a beautiful living room, 2 bedrooms, beautiful bar, beautiful dining area. Wow. It can never happen again. I got to pinch myself sometimes thinking about that era, that point, that particular time period of my life. It was unbelievable living in a hotel in Las Vegas.
In that room.
Only moved out a couple times for when they sold it to Tillman Fertitta bought it. And when they sold it to Tillman, before he built the other tower, which he actually built himself an apartment, he would stay in that room. So I used to have to move out for him. So I used to get pretty mad at Tillman, but it's all
wow.
Right.
So you lived there when like Tim and Tom owned it?
Tim and Tom is when I lived.
Really?
Oh yeah. Tim,
wow.
Oh yeah. I was very close to Tim at the time. I was close. I was, even when I see him now at Piero's or something, I'll go over, we'll have a nice conversation or a drink together. Really, I was close to those guys. So
wow. Yeah. So I only met Tim once, but I know Tom pretty well.
Yeah. Tom was dating someone.
Jamie Presley. Jamie Presley.
At the time. Yeah.
Yep.
I met her.
Yep.
With him. She was very friendly.
Wow. So I was at have we talked about this? I was at the premiere for the TV show, for the reality show at the Nugget.
John, that was the first show I've ever done.
So you were at that premiere, and I didn't even know you. Yeah. And
I was on the
Sharippa was there.
I was the guy on the golf course that they were chasing around for the money.
Right. My God.
It was staged reality. They called me a different name. They called me Frankie, and they chased me. But that was real money. We went to the casino cage, took $1 million in a bag out of the casino cage, went to the golf course with the real money. I even told Tim driving. I drove over to the golf course with Tim. I was like, Tim, this is not good. You got no security here or nothing? $1 million in a bag here in the front seat.
Right.
And
he's like, I got you. Don't worry about it.
No, it's like, it was wow, it was some fun times. It really was. I really had great times.
Yeah, I was really at that premiere. I remember I talked to Steve Sharippa was there, and I don't know if you know Joe Leone was the entertainment director.
Yeah, the entertainment director.
Yes.
Went over to the Win after that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, of course.
Good. Those were good times. Those were the last of those times, right?
They were. That can't happen again.
Yeah.
You can't stay in a hotel room for years.
No.
It's 30 days. After 30 days, it's like a law.
100%.
The law says, like, you can establish residency or something. It's like really.
Yep.
So, interesting.
Wow. Anything interesting over on WSN.com that you want to share with the group?
The articles. They again outdone themselves, but they just keep a staff on where they have all these articles that are fantastic and keep you up to date, up to speed with the entire business. So they're really. I don't know another site that does that. Not only is it the articles on, I'm saying from a business standpoint to tell me which states are becoming legal, what's the talks, what's going on, what's the industry, what's going on in the industry, but also they have articles on handicapping and on the different games and different events that's happening now. Always the golf event or whatever the big thing is on schedule that week on tap. But you can also go over to the state guide. That's what I love. Go over to each state and click on it. You can find all the bonuses. WSN negotiates the most unbelievable deals with these sports books to get you fans the best deal for the money. So WSN.com. And you can go to, there's 30 different states now, over 30 states that have sports betting. Click on your state and, sign up through the greatest deals that WSN has negotiated again for you. So really good bonuses and just a good, fantastic all-around great site.
All right, Bill, it's that time. I'm super pumped about today's guest. He's the only voice of the UFC and forever will be that. He has announced the most iconic fights over 18 or 20 years. I don't even know. I mean, basically from the beginning until just pretty recent, Goldie's been on the call. Bill, it gives me great pleasure to introduce Mike Goldberg to the Wise Kracks show. There he is.
Mike, thanks for coming on.
Bill, it is my absolute pleasure. When John told me that you were co-hosting, I said, well, if Bill's involved, I'll do it. If Travis is, putting everything together, I'll do it. Okay, John, if you're on, I'll do it too.
Cool. Thanks for coming on.
Was that Wise Cracky? Is that a good?
Yeah, that was good.
That's right, Wise Cracky.
I want to stay with the theme here.
Absolutely.
You have so many different titles. I got to stay with the theme here, right, John?
Yeah, Bill is a neighborhood guy. He grew up in the neighborhood.
Neighborhood. I got you.
I'm down in Hilton Head now at a PGA golf tournament, but normally I'm in Vegas with John. I'm originally from back east.
Oh,
so yeah,
nice.
John's in Vegas. And where are you at, Mike?
I'm in Phoenix.
For you?
I'm in Phoenix.
Oh, great. All right.
Yep.
So you're only a short
hop, skip, and a jump
plane ride from Vegas, and
we don't change times, Bill. So, half the year we're Denver, half the year we're Los Angeles. So half the time when I would travel from Phoenix to Vegas in a UFC, I'd leave at noon and get in at noon, and I was just like, whoosh. But then it was a 2-hour flight home, even though it was an hour flight home. It was just, there's a lot for a guy who talks about guys and girls in their underwear fighting in a cage to try to take in. John, thank you for your support, John. But I love it here. We've been here since 2004, Bill. I'm an Ohio kid. Grew up in the Midwest. Big Cincinnati Bengals fan, Reds fan, obviously. Went to Miami of Ohio. Grew up on the west side of Cleveland. Played hockey my entire life. It was a tough Super Bowl. to watch with the outcome, but it was nice to see the boys back there.
Yeah, you have a really nice Twitter feed. I just looked it over, and I followed you. And it's Cincinnati stuff. It's exactly what you said. Some ice, some head-to-head stuff with Malignaggi. I thought Malignaggi was a fantastic. I've seen him at a couple events in New York. He used to always fight in Brooklyn there.
Yep.
And I see him at a couple events talking, and I think he's really well versed and well schooled. So you guys are a real good fit together. So really
I greatly appreciate that, Bill. And John knows, because Paulie and I did some shows right there in Vegas at Sticky Paws. Paulie and I have really bonded very quickly. And he's a big hockey fan, loves his Rangers. So he'll talk hockey with me. He'll talk football, all the different sports, and he's passionate about everything. But I will tell you that I believe, even partnering up, powerful partnering, if you will, with Paulie Malignaggi, that he is the best boxing commentator as far as the color commentator position is out there right now. And he sees it and breaks it down more systematically, sensationally than anyone in the game. So not only do I enjoy his, that Sicily and that Italian little swagger he has, but I learn every time I work with them, Bill and John. And that's really fun for me, because I've been in combat sports a long time, but boxing is a combat sport, but there's little facets that are different. And so I'm coming in as a student, and he's a great teacher.
Very cool.
Mike, it's funny when you say you're coming in as a student, it reminds me of, I would come to Vegas in the UFC days. I'd roll in town on like a Thursday, and I'd immediately hit you up, on a Thursday or Friday. And I'd be like, hey, I'm in town. Let's go to dinner. And you'd write back like, are you out of your mind? I'm doing homework. Like, I don't know if people realize the level of homework that, and we talked about this actually earlier in this show today with Bill, like, when he's got so many sports going, he's a pro sports bettor, there's there's levels to this, right? I mean, you really are committed to the research part of your craft.
There's no question about it, John. And I've always been all about preparation. And it really goes all the way back to early play-by-play assignments in my career, all the way back to like Illinois high school basketball. And I thought about it for a second, because I graduated in 1982. So there were some kind of cameras out there. They weren't as, easy to utilize as they are today. But I always would think, man, I'm glad they got my name right, John. I'm glad they said my name right, even if it was our own dad, hockey dad, broadcasting it. So I always felt it was important with that swimming and diving in high school to say John Orlando, not John Orlando, because you are going to watch that with mom, dad, grandma, and grandpa your entire life. So that was how I really started to commit to being prepared. And then the understanding of, and Bill, you know this as well, you're not trying to fool people when you're prepared. It doesn't mean you're going to be perfect. It doesn't mean that there aren't going to be curveballs that are thrown your way. But in anything in life, if you haven't done your homework, people are smart. They're going to see right through that very quickly. And so I equate it to being a quarterback, because that's my position as a play-by-play announcer. So I've got to have all those plays on my wrist, and I've got to have all those areas that I can go so they can make it easy for my partner. And for 20 years or 15 plus years, it was Joe Rogan. Now it's Paulie. I just throw up the softballs and let them run. But John, it's always been, as you know, and Bill, very important to me to represent any athlete that I cover properly, and especially in the fight game. I will study just as diligently on someone making their first entrance into the octagon, the Bellator cage, the ring, whatever it is, as a Michael Bisping who waited to fight 27 to become a world champion, because they have sacrificed so much. They have worked so hard, and blood, sweat, and tears, to say the least. And it would be an absolute insult for me to not personally do my homework on these fighters who have sacrificed so much. And then I'm here for the fans, and I got to be able to educate the fans, entertain them as well. And that's why I'm all about my homework. And I say, John, you're crazy, but Saturday after the show, you know where we're going, brother. I'll see you then.
That was great stuff. I have a question for you.
Of course.
So did you ever think your former co-host, Joe Rogan, would be the highest paid podcaster in the world. I mean, and by the way, he's great. But did you ever think that he would be making? I think he signed for $10 million a year. Did you ever think that this guy would make that kind of money?
Money wise, I don't know if I could put it into perspective. Although, as all three of us know, the $100 million figure was what Howard Stern started at when satellite radio, Sirius XM, became a reality. And they said, all right, how are we going to get people to subscribe? We're going to take Howard Stern and we're going to make him available only here. And boom, there's your buys. Honestly, Bill, no, I'm not. And I'll tell you why I'm not. Because people need to know what Joe is really all about. Joe is a combat artist. Joe was a champion in his teens in Taekwondo. He was outstanding. He still trains every day. He's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. He was in news radio because of his relationship with Phil Hartman, because they were coming up together at the comedy club. Joe had so much passion for mixed martial arts and so much energy and so much knowledge, it made it a natural fit eventually when people stopped looking at him as the fear factor guy. But back then, if you had the wheel and you said, Joe, pick one and only one, you can't do everything, what would you be? And he would say, I would be stand-up comedian. So roll that a little bit forward, Bill, to just the way Joe is and his depth of knowledge and his craziness and like he's all the things that he's interested in and that he's well-versed at. In that regard, it doesn't surprise me. It doesn't surprise me at all. And because Joe, a la Howard Stern many years before, Joe's not afraid to be a little bit of renegade. I think that might be an understatement. No, it doesn't surprise me. Joe's about being great about anything he does. And he's a smart dude. And he doesn't go into any of those interviews. And he interviews everybody from everywhere in every place right now. He doesn't go into any of those, Bill, unprepared. So no, Joe Rogan is well deserving of everything that's come his way because he's worked for everything that's come his way.
That's great. He's got a lot of detractors and a lot of eyeballs on him all the time.
For sure.
People are waiting to take a shot at him. So,
well, the higher you get on the tree, the thinner the branches are, right, you guys?
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Goldie, when I look at that poster over your shoulder that says Silva versus Diaz, and I think about all of the iconic fights that you have been a part of, whether, know, back from, Chuck and Tito days to BJ Penn to GSP to Lawler versus McDonald, Conor McGregor, Ronda Rousey, all of those, Brock Lesnar. I mean, the list is endless.
I got my Aldo McGregor on the other side, not in camera view, John.
I love it. Yeah, that's always going to be a special one. All those fights, it's like I always ask my dad, back when it was happening, did you enjoy and recognize, like, wow, I did it? And, like, it's the same question I ask you. Like, obviously you still got a lot of things to do, but what you've already done to this point is stuff that kids that want to be broadcasters dream about. I mean, do you realize, like, wow, I did it? Or are you so caught up in the grind every day, every week that you don't really let it soak it up?
What did Uncle Tony say? I know you're not going to tell me what I'm
tell the people. Tell the people.
Well, we'll get to that in a moment. But I was going to go and you're going to tell me what
he didn't. Tony said. He did. He said he didn't. He was so caught up in it. Yeah.
I would say I would agree with your father. We were so focused on being so much for so many, much like the preparation, that we knew it was a cool gig. We knew we were living the life. We knew it was special. We knew we had the greatest gigs in the world, and we loved the fact that we could interact with our fans and we could be real. But with one show after another, and you're voicing over and you're in your room and John's trying to bother you on a Thursday night, Bill, and he won't stop texting. I'm like, dude, I got to silence my phone here. I did, but not as much as I do now. And I look back on them and I think about those moments. And like you and I talk and reminisce about those times, John. So I would agree with your father. You get caught in that forest a long time before you can sit back and take a look, or caught in the tree, sit back and then take a look at the big picture and see the forest. It wasn't a bad time, but I would, if I could do it again, I would stop and smell the roses on the journey a little bit more often than I did. I was never unhappy, never unhappy. I had the best job in the world, and I continue to have some of the best jobs in the world. But what I've stopped and taken a deep breath and just said, wow, this is amazing. That was a great moment. Yeah, a little bit more I would. There were times I did, don't get me wrong. After Abu Dhabi, we went to Dubai, and it was crazy. There were a lot of times I did. But yeah, in the big picture, I've grown to appreciate it and cherish it more now that I've moved away from it. I would also say, Bill, that I'm on ESPN more now than I was when I worked for ESPN because of all the old fights that air all the time. I'm like, what, ESPN? Goldie's on ESPN again. All right, okay, I hope I do a good job.
Mike, you've traveled all over the world.
Yeah.
You've
sure.
been all over what a great experience that is alone. What's some of the best places you think you've been to, and maybe some of the worst places you've been to?
Well, Dublin is one of my all-time favorites. Don't let the last name trick you or fool you. Full respect, my father, may he rest in peace. He's Jewish. My mom is Irish Catholic. And, my brother and I are still very, very confused. Let's just leave it at that. So going to Dublin is just amazing because the fans are awesome. The fans are passionate. In the UK, they're passionate. They're passionate here, don't get me wrong. But we watched Ireland come to the U.S. and follow Connor, and that's a different kind of crazy. That's a different kind of engaged. And they'd always say to me afterwards, Goldie, you fucking legend. I can't believe you're fucking here. Can I buy you a fucking jammy? Fucking fun. And I'd be like, thank you. Like, can I get you a fucking Guinness? Fucking legend. You're a legend. And then they'd start, I'd always talk to them because I'm that guy. I'm a hockey player. I leave my ego at the door. And then they start asking me like questions about the fight, Bill, and be like, so what do you think about the fight? McGregor to that? Like, what the fuck? Like, oh my God. So I have no idea what happened there. So Ireland, the UK, always extremely special. I really enjoyed going to Australia. It's the one time I came home from a show on a boat because we were down by Olympic Stadium. Went right into the Sydney Harbor. Japan was where I did my first show. But you go to Tokyo and you think about martial arts in itself, and you think about all the great fights that have taken place in the history of the Pride Fighting Championships. So trips to Japan were absolutely magical. What trips did I not like? Maybe the time in Bellator when we were still in, COVID protocol. So we would go to the hotel. They'd give us a box lunch, we'd go to our room. We'd wait. We already took a test before we flew. We'd wait. We'd get up 7 in, we'd stumble down, we'd take another COVID test, go back, go in our room and stay in our room, eat on paper plates with plastic forks and knives. And then we'd go down to a meeting, then we'd have to go up again. Now, it was better than not working. But so I kid a little bit, but yeah, that I can't even say I was that Mohegan Sun because I could have been anywhere in isolation, but we were doing shows. Where did I not like? I'm trying to think of a place.
Like you were in danger, fans were too overly crazy. You felt like, of course, the Conor McGregor fans, but besides them.
Yeah, okay. I'm glad you said that because you just sparked a great memory for me. Sao Paulo, Brazil. All the way back. This is still SEG days. It is, because I was working with Jeff Blatnick, the Olympic gold medalist, may he rest in peace. And we were in Sao Paulo. Okay, there's a place. I got your place, Bill. Sao Paulo, Brazil. You get all these warnings about how dirty it is, how dangerous it is. I don't run. I don't jog. Somehow, Big John McCarthy, Blatnick, and I go, I'll go with you. We decide to go for a little hop and run around Sao Paulo, which makes Mexico City look barren. With the traffic and the smoke and the smog. And I am staring at Big John's butt for whatever time we ran, because I'm scared to death. And I'm looking at, the Olympic gold medalist behind me. And like a lot of heavyweight wrestlers, his legs are curved out like this.
Sure.
And I'm thinking, we're like, I got to stay behind John because if a shot gets fired, he's a big dude. He's a good cover. And so I'm like, okay, all right, we're safe. We go and we do the show. And that was the famous Vitor Belfort Vanderlei Silva fight. But there was a fight late on that card. It was the main event in which the decision went against the Brazilian. And as this unfolded, I could feel the crowd getting angry. And I started to pack up my briefcase during that fight. And by the time Buff said, the winner is, I was wheeling out the back door towards the production truck to get the hell out of there. So I will admit that one time I was like, all right, we got to get out of here right now. I was a little bit scared. Another time we were in England, we were at Joe's comedy show. So Joe decides that, he's going to have a little fun with, the Brits. And he talks about soccer being kind of stupid because God gave you two hands. Why wouldn't you use them? Exactly. And he went somewhere else. And then he went to the Queen. And I looked at Eddie Bravo and I looked at Mark Delagrati. I'm like, dude, should we leave? Like, I'm kind of feeling like we should leave. Like, Joe can handle 50, 100 people himself because the crowd laughed. And then they just were like, okay, really funny. And she doesn't pay taxes. And I'm like, crew, Mark Delagrati, crew. I'm out. I don't care. I'm out. Bye. See you later. I'll see Joe somewhere where he's not offending people. But it was it was very comical because the laughs turned into, you just insulted everyone here in the United Kingdom mode very quickly that night when Joe was on stage.
Wow.
What do you got, John?
That's just wild. The other sports, hockey, baseball. What do you have? Is there anything you haven't done yet that you want to do?
The Olympics, probably.
Really?
Some assignment at the Olympic Games. Yeah.
Any sport
I was close. Any sport, probably, John. I was close on a couple of occasions when I was doing beach volleyball, doing the AVP for 5 or 6 years for Fox Sports Net. It was during the Misty Carey era. But I mean, Marlowe and Sunderland have been so great for so long that they've had those assignments, and the network, the network shows were on NBC anyway, and NBC had the Olympics. So I was really close to doing the indoor games one year, or the indoor volleyball at the Olympic Games. So it would be cool to do that. I in the bottom, like truly in my blood, in my DNA, and at the bottom of my heart, I still have a lot of passion for the game of hockey. I am a hockey player. It's my DNA. I still play with, my son's now old enough to be on my men's league team. We're diehard Sharks fans. Joe Thornton, I don't care that he's not a Shark anymore. He's always a Shark in my heart. It's my life. I played in college. I did 900 games as a play-by-play guy. John, I want to do hockey at the network level again. And that's how I got into the UFC, is meeting Bruce Connell doing ESPN hockey in '96. He said, go, got a gig for you. It's in Japan. You got to take a jiu-jitsu class. And, the rest is kind of history. So, I still have a huge desire and a lot of fuel in the tank to do the NHL at a network level once again. And I want to go on a journey with the boxing that I'm doing now that will assimilate the journey that I was blessed to go on in mixed martial arts. And Paulie and I have talked about it. Paulie obviously had some conflicts that cost him his Showtime job. The move from Bellator to Showtime took me away from Bellator only because Mauro Ranallo was already there.
Right.
Bellator, if we would have stayed on CBS Sports Network, I'd still be doing Bellator. But Bill, John knows how competitive I am. And, now I'm thinking like, okay, I'm going to be calling a Canelo Alvarez or that magnitude of fight in boxing sooner than later, because I'm going to attack it in the same way that I attacked MMA. And I'm on this new project, Bill, you'll appreciate it, called ProBox TV. And my partners on ProBox TV are Roy Jones Jr.,
wow,
Antonio Tarver, and Paulie. That's our broadcast team.
Oh, yeah.
And our main event, when we do our global launch on May 20th, is the return of Jean Pascal. And he's fighting Mong Fong Long, who is the IBF #1 light heavyweight contender in the world. It's the biggest fight for a Chinese boxer ever, because a Chinese boxer has never fought a world champion. And we have Zhu Can on that card as well, who just lost his world championship. I mean, just to be with Roy and Antonio and Paulie, I mean, I'm surrounded by royalty in the sport of boxing. And I'm really excited to see where Pro Box TV can go. And I'm going to do my best, John O, to be part of the solution, as we always say, not part of the problem.
That's great. I do see that on your feed, too. You have a really good Twitter feed.
Thank you.
And for people that don't know, you're Goldie on TV, at Goldie on TV on Twitter.
Yes.
So Mike Goldberg, fantastic guest. John, great guest you got here. He's really a great addition to the Wise Kracks.
Yeah, Goldie, thank you so much. I know we called you last minute. You know, I've been saving you because I wanted to have you in studio because it's just more fun in studio. But, it just, the stars haven't aligned for that to happen yet. And I appreciate you jumping on last minute for us today. Thank you so much.
It is my absolute pleasure. I will tell the short version, if it's okay with you, Bill and
Please.
John, because his father became one of my heroes. And I'm going to try not to get emotional, but I first met Uncle Tony, Tony Orlando, at least for about 10 minutes, until he insisted I call him Uncle Tony. When I asked if I could, he said, "You better." I met him at a UFC. He randomly walked up, this dude, handsome lad with a big black mustache and a black UFC hat on. He goes, "Hey, I'm Tony Orlando." And I'm like, holy shit, yes, you are. So fast forward to a fight in which tickets got messed up. John hits me up. We're able to get Uncle Tony seats for the big fight. Uncle Tony wants to thank us in person. There's no other way to do it. Uncle Tony and I come up. John says, "My dad wants to do something for you. What can he do?" I say, "All right, just sing Pat Dita for my mom. She loves your dad. I'll do you one better." My mom gets invited out to a concert. She gets the royal treatment. Uncle Tony loves my mom. It happens to be Diane de la Garza's 50th birthday, Demi Lovato's mom. And boom, 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 we stay very close. My last UFC was obviously tough. And I knew before that it was my last. And it came after a bunch of tears and hugs and everything downstairs. I came up and I didn't really want to see anybody or a lot of people. But John was there. I think your sister was there, John, but Uncle Tony.
Yep.
Uncle Tony was there, and he walks up to me in his big Greek loving way. He grabs me by the cheeks, Bill. And I'm sorry, man. Tony Orlando says to me, "Goldie, you are the brand. They just borrowed you for a long period of time. You left nothing down there but a legacy. You are the brand, and you will take your brand and do bigger and better things." And I'm just sitting there going, wow. He gives me a big hug. I know I hugged him back. I know I had tears. We sat and we talked, and John was there. There were tears. And you talk Tony Orlando, man. I mean, I'm old enough to know. Like, I know the songs. I'm old enough. But to have a legend like Tony Orlando, Uncle Tony, say that to me minutes after a 19-year career with the UFC came to conclusion was something I will never, ever forget. And love Uncle Tony. John and I are like brothers. Bill, it's great to talk to you. And I will tell you this. Yeah, sorry about that. I'll tell you this. I've taken my dad, may he rest in peace, to a lot of great things. He saw Pete Rose break Ty Cobb's record. But Uncle Tony was performing in Phoenix, and we're all there. And I'm singing, and he shouts out, "Mike," I'm still with the UFC, "Mike Goldberg, UFC, in the house tonight." And I looked at my mother, and I said, "Mom, of all the things you ever thought I might do, did you ever think I'd get a shout out from Tony Orlando?" And she goes, "Son, no, I did not." So there you go.
Cool. What a great way to end too. That was a really cool story.
Thank you.
That was awesome, man.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I can't wait to play this for him.
Play Tie a Yellow Ribbon right after.
Bill, Goldie will send me. He'll send me videos on a motor. He'll be on his motorcycle singing "Candida."
Oh,
It
wow.
is true. Yeah. I'm like that sometimes, Bill.
Yeah.
No, it's great. I was at dinner with Tony a couple weeks ago with John and Tony, and I'll show him little videos I find deep searching on the internet.
Yeah.
And Tony, how did you find that? He grabbed me by the neck. How did you find something?
Right, yeah, exactly. Like the big Greek love, like he's right there. He's in your face. Like good, bad, or different, and it's usually good with love.
Too. He does a 2.5 hour show with us in studio, and doesn't even tell us this story. We're at dinner, and he says, "You know what, Bill? I was like nonchalantly. I'm at dinner with Frank Sinatra, and I'm at Caesar's Palace, and Frank, he said, it's unbelievable the call that Frank got. Unfortunately, it's a sad story that Frank's mom died in a plane crash. Tony was with him. And Tony didn't even tell us that story until I was at dinner with him. And he says, I was having dinner with Frank Sinatra, his mom, the same plane that Dean Martin's son, the same mountain that he crashed into in Palm Springs. That's where Frank Sinatra's mom's same plane, same mountain, crashed into the same mountain, unfortunately. But he said, Tony, remember John?
Yeah.
His dad said,
yeah.
He said, listen, Frank, maybe you shouldn't go on tonight. I'll go on and I'll explain to the audience and I'll go out and put a set for him. And he said, no, these people came here and they came all the way to Vegas to see me. I'm going to go on. So, and then literally Tony's dad stood stage right there and at the show. And Frank came over to him. I didn't word yet on the plane because the plane was missing.
Right.
And, Tony will bring you to tears easy because he'll bring himself.
Absolutely.
Very emotional guy. So just some great stories. I love Tony, and really great to meet you. And again, thank you for your story, Tony.
Thank you. I'd like to think I'm humbly confident that young men and women who get into this industry could look at the way that I treat people, look at the way that I handle myself on a daily basis through the ups and downs, and learn from me a little bit of character. But I'll tell you what, you magnify that to a man like Tony Orlando, that's as big as they get, and to see what he is and what he is all about. Hey, you know what? When you talk about heroes, that's how you learn, and that's what I hope to pass on to the younger broadcasters. So this is fun, man. And there's no way I couldn't talk about Uncle Tony. I'm sorry. We've said this, we told this story, John, a million times, but we haven't officially done it. Being Wise Crackers. So
I love it.
We have. Yes.
Thanks, man.
Appreciate it, buddy.
You got it, guys. You got it. Nice to meet you, Bill.
Fun stuff. I told you you'd like Goldie.
Oh, he's great. I loved him.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Good guy. I could just tell deep down inside to the way he talks. And he's very sincere and he's my kind of guy.
I told you. Yeah. I knew you'd like him. All right, Crack Man. Well, this was a lot of fun. I know we went kind of long today, but it was good stuff.
All right, John, wrap it up, and hopefully we'll get Vinny Paz on soon. He couldn't come on today, but we'll get him on.
That's okay. Something to look forward to. And we'll see you guys next week on Wise Kracks.